Hi, and welcome to another Mud and Blood visual review. If this is your first time visiting our channel, let me just quickly set some expectations. This is not a full review of this role-playing game Ironsworn by Shawn Tomkin. We have done a full review of this game over on our audio-only podcast, Mud and Blood, which is the name of our podcast. It's 2 hours long, and basically we record these visual reviews because one of the things we rate a game on is its visuals, and it's hard to impart exactly what that means in terms of visuals in an audio-only format. So we've created these kind of smaller visual reviews, basically to flick through the products that we're talking about to accompany our full review. If you want to go check out that full review, again, it's 2 hours long. We also have interviewed Shawn Tomkin before we've done the review, and we've actually played a game with Shawn Tomkin, also over on our podcast. You can check all of that out. Our link to our podcast audio episodes is mbcast.co, and this specific review is mbcast.co/67. Okay, that little preamble out of the way, let's talk about the book itself. First thing to talk about is that it's print on demand. This isn't an offset published book, printed book. This is print on demand. I'm in Europe, so this gets printed from Lightning Source UK via Drive-Thru RPG. It's a paperback, as you can see, paperback, glossy, full color paperback book. There's also a hardcover option available if you so wish. I chose this option because I have been in touch with Shawn quite a while before when I bought this book, and he gave basically I asked him for his advice on whether paperback or hardback would be preferable, and he said that he found that the paperback kind of laid a bit flatter on the table, so that's the one I went for on his recommendation. Although obviously I have some hardback print on demand titles, and they're quite nice as well. Anyway, I'm off topic slightly. It's print on demand. That's the main thing I wanted to say. Format wise, in terms of size, it is digest, which in this particular instance means that it's 6 inches wide by 9 inches tall. In metric, that is roughly 15 centimeters wide by 23 centimeters tall. It is 270 pages thick, and you can see that the sometimes you don't see this on some print-on-demand titles, but the spine has the name of the title of the book nicely centered, which is yeah, it's good to see. That should be the standard on every book, but it's not always the case. Okay, let's crack it open and have a look inside. The first thing we usually point out is things like the table of contents. This has a whopping 7 pages in the table of contents. It covers all the kind of subheadings in quite a granular level of detail. So if you want to find out something, this is a really good first place to come and check. Alternatively, there's also a full 5-page index at the back. So it's pretty easy to reference the physical product to find pages because of the having such a large both table of contents and index. In terms of layouts, as you can see here, just opening to a random page, it's single column layout throughout the book. There's minimal page dressing. As you can see, there's no background on this. There's not fancy borders going anywhere around the sides. We have the page numbers in the corners, which makes it easy to, flicking through makes it easy to find the page number. Sometimes you'll find page numbers in the center of the page, which can be a little bit infuriating when you're trying to find a page quickly, because you have to kind of hold it open a lot wider. So that's nice. You can see the chapter number and chapter name over on the left-hand side of the spread, and the name Ironsworn over on the right. Nothing at the top in terms of reference material for where you're at, so it's all kind of at the bottom here. In terms of visual design, you can see that there's this kind of minimalist, layout and graphic design. Callout boxes are in 3 styles. You have black ones, which are kind of like I want to say it's kind of like example text. I'm not exactly sure if that's kind of how it works. I think it's mainly just kind of standard callout boxes. If there are moves, the moves look like this. It's a white callout box it basically is just a box because it has an outline around it. And then you have some gray callout boxes as well. I'm going to try and find one very quickly. Okay, these are the examples. So the gray ones are the example callout boxes. So you've got black, gray, and white. It's, again, very, very easy to read. There's no issues with accessibility here. Yeah, so that's basically what it looks like. If we look at tables, let's flick back here to the Oracle. Tables follow this sort of format. You have yeah, gray and white alternating rows. Some of them are two double column width, triple column width, and some of them they go across the entire width of the page. Pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Yeah, easy to read, easy to reference. So that's what those look like. What else can we talk about before I jump into the actual photography elements? Graphic design. There's a lot of graphic design in here, not in the moves chapter, which is the bulk of this book. But if you look at things like character basics, you've got a graphic of the character sheet with examples of how it looks. At the very beginning, you've got a flow chart in the first chapter. You've got, the dice in themselves have a nice kind of graphical layout to them. Progress boxes with how they're ticked, etc. There's kind of a very nice visual theme going through here in terms of graphics. Shawn himself works professionally in web design, so it's kind of to be expected that there's this kind of eye to detail in terms of usability and kind of UX UI elements that wouldn't be that isn't that unfamiliar to those of us who've used the web quite a lot. This is towards the back where it's kind of got how you play the game. Or gameplay in depth, the chapter's called, and this has got a lot of the graphics in it in terms of how to do questing, traveling, a flowchart, which is how you do quests, that sort of thing. So there's a couple more in here. Trying to find some. There's an example of play at the back, which is the one thing I really want to talk about. Hacking Ironsworn, I think it's just after this. Yeah, so an extended example of play. It starts off with a kind of pre-gen character sheet showing you the character in question, and then it goes through. It talks around the asset cards that are being used. It has a role, like how the role is made, how you're coming up with the roles, in a nice kind of concise manner here, graphical manner for every time that the dice is rolled, and then it talks about how it's interpreted. That's a really, really nice feature of this book, this extended example of play. And yeah, the graphical elements really help emphasize how you do all that. So yeah, those are the graphic elements. Finally, let's talk around the photos. So Shawn has basically used, it says here on the first page, image credits are stock image elements from a variety of sources. He selected a number of icons he's put here Lork and Della White, and I recognize those from GameIcons.net, those names. They use a lot of, those particular users use a lot of really good icons that you can use in role-playing games. Anyway, so basically Shawn has taken stock photography, and I know because I've seen some of his workflow that he's done a lot of editing on them to really make them shine in his book here. For example, you've got a picture towards the back here of a Leviathan under a ship. Now, I believe that would be two separate stock images there. One of a Leviathan underwater and one of a kind of a ship sailing in a fjord. Anyway, one bit that we call out in the review that we really liked was this chapter here on the world. And basically for these 9 regions of the world, there's a separate page. And in that, there are pictures showing each region, like what it looks like. And the pictures are very, very good at evoking the right sort of feel for each of these regions. So that was a really nice touch that we really, really liked. Other than that, most of the photography, the art in this book are kind of Viking-esque warriors in various states of, battle or contemplation. And yeah, we talk about it in depth in our review. So I'll save the kind of the judgments, but our ratings and all that for our review. But that's basically kind of what it looks like. So that is Ironsworn in a very quick nutshell. That's what the visual product looks like. If you want to look at it in more depth, the game is completely free as a PDF. It's a full art version. If you go to ironswornrpg.com, you'll find links to where you can grab a hold of that book, or you can head over to DriveThruRPG and search for Ironsworn, and you'll be able to find this game, no problems there as well. The game, again, is completely free in PDF, so if you do want to go have a look at it, that's how you do it, which is pretty much incredible that you can get this game for free in that way. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. This is a very quick one this time round, and thanks for watching, and catch you next time for our next visual review. Cheers.